The Fix is in. The Sports Fix.
Portions of the Sports Fix brought to you by GV Art and Design. It's not just a shirt, it's a statement. GVArtwork.com.
Sports Fix listeners, don't wait all day or all week to get in on the fun. The party doesn't stop when we go off the air all week long. The Sports Fix social media sites are your one-stop shop for all things Cleveland sports. Jump over to Facebook.com/TheSportsFix, Facebook.com/TheSportsFix, and become a fan today because we love fans and they create some of the best sports talk in town, Daddy. You'll enjoy talking to your fellow Cleveland sports fans on the Sports Fix fan page. And if Twitter's your thing, well, you know how we do it. Tweet with us at TheSportsFixCLE. It's that simple. Twitter.com/TheSportsFixCLE, baby. Chat live with the crew during all your favorite Cleveland sports events, tickets and contests and trivia and so much more. Get with us today, The Sports Fix on social media, Facebook.com/TheSportsFix. Tweet with us at TheSportsFixCLE. Join the Sports Fix on Facebook and Twitter today.
Hey Cleveland, this is Anderson Varejão of the Cleveland Cavaliers. You are listening to the Sports Fix.
Live in Ohio, it's time to get your fix. The Sports Fix.
That's right, Radio Man. It is time to get your fix. I'm feeling good. I've been up, ready, fired up this morning. A lot to get into today. Behind the scenes, a lot going on. In front of the scenes, a lot going on. It's a game day. I get fired up. As you guys know, it doesn't take much to get me going. You add a little coffee and some primetime football to it. I'm ready to lock and load, rock and roll on this Thursday edition. Turns into a game day edition of the Sports Fix here. We've got a lot to talk about. We're going to talk Cavaliers last night, another one. We'll get into that here in a minute. They fall, last second shot last night. Second half, I like some of the stuff I saw, but we'll talk about it still. A lot of work, a lot of time. Let's chill out. We'll talk about the Cavs here. Game day, Browns, Bengals, and listen, whatever happens tonight, tomorrow will be, we'll talk about it, dissect it one way or the other. But regardless of how the Browns got here, how they're at, where you think, who's the quarterback, any of that nonsense, just forget it. It's a Thursday night. The primetime lights are on the Browns and the Bengals and the battle for Ohio. This game hasn't meant a lot in a long time. It's fun. It's fun. Let the chips fall where they may tomorrow, but it's fun to go into tonight's game and go, man, because I grew up in that one of those small windows where Browns and Bengals was competitive and meant something, that 80s run, and I know that taints my perspective a bit, and it's different than people that have seen it only in the modern days. And I know, we said there's only been a few windows where those teams have both truly been competitive with each other. That was one of those. I grew up in the Icky Woods. Now, way before it was just 44 ladies getting cold cuts when he was doing the Icky shuffle in the end zone, and Eric Metcalf was bursting into national prominence on Monday Night Football under the lights against the Cincinnati Bengals and all of the AFC Central battles and stuff, that stuff. And I agree, Bruce, those days are gone. But a day like today allows you to hearken back a little bit to that. It allows it to feel like that. It's not the same. Nothing's ever the same. I understand that. But it brings a little bit of that. And it is, hey, the Bengals, you can say what you want. And I agree, a lot of the luster came off of the Browns and the Steelers, especially to a lot of the lesser hardcore fan base when you're getting pasted almost every other time, But Browns and Bengals has always had that bite. Even when both teams are bad, there's still it's the battle for Ohio. It's the pride of the state. And so, I'm with it. And I'm fired up just because of that alone. And we've got a lot to do talking about that here today. Kendall Lewis, I agree, Larry. I believe that those days are making a return. I mean, we see the AFC North battles you've seen even in the years past before the Browns have begun to resurge a bit with Baltimore and Cincinnati and Pittsburgh. And I mean, clearly the Browns now looking to add bite to their part of it too. And those games can be every bit as down and dirty as they used to be. So yeah, I agree with you guys. We're going to talk with Kendall Lewis, the BSK, just about 15 minutes from now. Kendall's going to be here starting things off. We'll get his thoughts on the Browns. 8 games into the season, he had the Browns in the preseason at 3-13. They've won 2 more games in the first half than he had for the entire season. I want to talk to him about his thoughts on the first half of the season, and of course, Primetime, Bengals and Browns tonight. Then Jeff Gorman from Browns101.com, he's going to join us. We'll get the scouting report as he does each and every week on the Browns opponent. This week, it is the Bengals. It's not Sam White. It's not Ickey Woods. It's not... He'll be eating some cold cuts on a couch watching this one, and it'll be this version of the Bengals and the Browns. So we'll get the scouting report from Jeff Gorman of Browns101.com. Then, of course, don't forget, in hour 2, BJ Rudell, Fantasy Football for Winners. He's not only the author of that book, he's the host of the segment with me every Thursday, getting you ready for the kickoff. We're going to do the Week 10 edition and get you set. And if you're like me, you're going down in a blaze of glory. And I'll talk to you guys. I got a soft spot in my heart for you guys that are where I'm at in my league. But maybe you're looking to run the table, that all the playoff races. Seriously, our fantasy league, it's tight all the way across the top. And I'm not giving up anything. I'm not giving any ground right now. I'm just gonna tell you that right now. I'm not giving any ground. I'm running the table. And I'm going to make something happen. I don't care what they say. I'm going out in a blaze of glory. But we're going to talk to BJ Rudell about that here. Fantasy Football for Winners. We've got the news of the day. All of that coming your way. Real quick, you guys know I love to hear from you guys. And I'm going to tell you how to do that in just a minute. A throwback to yesterday. A couple of guys. First off, shout out to Daryl in Spokane. Said first time listening to the show. And he's going to be back. He really enjoyed our interview with Jessica I. And he's going to be a full-time listener, but I appreciate that. I tell you guys all the time, Cleveland you expect. I was talking to some buddies yesterday, and I told them what I tell you guys sometimes about the demographics on the various sites that people listen to the show on, and how I'm always amazed that Cleveland is just outside the top 5 on almost all of them. I mean, obviously, it's still very Cleveland-centric because that's the base of what we do, but it's amazing, and there's another one. It's just really cool. But yesterday, I ran into a couple of things, and I tell you guys all the time, I want to hear what you like and what you don't like about the show. Heard from another first-time listener yesterday, Mike in Georgia, and he was giving me a hard time about the beginning, and it was his first time listening to the show, going through the websites and all the ways to get in touch, all of the things that we do, the little 5 minutes there at the beginning of the show. He said that, too. He came back and said, well, it was a little 5-minute introduction. I wasn't used to that. I guess it was just bad timing. You guys know that's how we roll here, and of course, I learned my lesson a long time ago, because when I try to not give all that information at the beginning of the show, it never fails that somebody goes, hey, I didn't hear this, I didn't know that, I didn't hear this. So learn my lesson. You guys know what we do, but I do understand that that's a bit of a culture shock, although I will throw out there at the same time that it's not like it. Some of these cats on the radio don't take a while to get rolling either, but I get that, and it is definitely a unique way that we do things here, and for those of you guys that know that, it's cool. For the others, it's an acquired taste. You enjoyed everything after the first 5 minutes of the show, and we have a fun time doing what we do, but I like to hear that stuff, and I love to hear everybody's different experience, and I got the rare question yesterday. Most of you guys are pretty good about this. Got the rare question yesterday about, if you guys are on the internet, why are there commercials on your show? And my answer to that is very simple. And most of you guys understand. That's why I always say, hey, I never get a hard time from anybody, because you understand that's the only way to keep it free. That's the only way to not make it a subscription show. I mean, this isn't a 30, 45-minute, even 60-minute podcast. This is a full-blown radio production, 2, sometimes 3 hours a day, 5 days a week, every single week, And so it's a bit different than just the podcast, the average endeavor that many people go on. And I'm just simply saying, expense-wise, cost-wise, this is what I do. So that enables us to keep it free, and you guys are so cool. I never ask anybody. I don't even ask you guys to go with any of our sponsors. I don't encourage, hey, you guys got to do what you got to do. But hopefully you do, and I appreciate when you do visit our sponsors and the people that help us keep this thing going, because it's because of them that we get to do this every day. So, but you guys are great. That's seriously like twice a year I get a question. But it was funny yesterday. I was like, I'm just curious. I'm not complaining. But since you guys are on the internet, why do you have commercials? That's why. Because hey, man, we got to keep this thing free. Otherwise, there's a different way of doing the Sports Fix, but it's much different. And then, it becomes a subscription type thing. And we don't want that. This is for everybody, and we're going to keep it that way. So I wanted to address that, though. Told you guys, I love it when you guys hit me up. Of course, you visit Signs and Ship, Bruce. Signs and Ship is the business printing source of the Sports Fix. See, I'm not trying to sell you nothing. Wink. Anyways, welcome in, you guys. Sports Fix, rolling on. Let's do it. Across the Sports Fix radio network, let's unlock this bad boy. Welcome in, whether you're listening. I'm the host, by the way, J-Rock, Jerry Myers, live across this bad boy on TuneIn and TuneIn's radio app worldwide, on Spreaker and Mixler and SoundCloud. Quiet, just be quiet over there. Welcome live, all of you, of course, on the website, thesportsfix.net, and everybody listening on digital delay 24/7. On iHeartRadio, world's largest internet radio provider, on iTunes and Stitcher Radio, SoundCloud, all the podcast formats, you guys. Thank you so much for being with us here as we do each and every weekday at noon. Thank you. And be a part of the show, as I say, every day. Phones are open, 216-539-7535. 216-539-7535 is the number to call. If you can't get through, hit us up. Facebook, Twitter, email, facebook.com/thesportsfix. Tweet with us at thesportsfixCLE. Email us, thesportsfix@AOL.com. As I said, just a few moments, Kendall Lewis coming up from here. Well, you know what? I was going to talk a little bit about the Cavaliers' loss last night, but you know what? I'm going to let you guys decide where we start off the show. Let's go to the phone lines first and foremost. Kick us off on the Sports Fix, baby.
You're right, Daddy. Today is the day, baby.
LGZ, what's happening, my man? How you doing from Cleveland Sports 360?
I'll tell you what's happening, J-Rock, Daddy. I'm excited. I think we're going to see a completely different Browns football team than we've seen in the last 3 games. I think we're going to see a team more geared up to play the way they were against the Pittsburgh Steelers and the New Orleans Saints. I think we're going to get a handful of Corral tonight. Running the football. I think they've been hiding this guy, keeping him as a secret weapon on the bench, and I think good things are going to happen for Brian Hoyer and the Cleveland Browns. A lot of people didn't understand Ray Farmer's way of building a little intrigue into the quarterback situation, coming out with his press conference, ill-timed as it may be. I think this guy is a motivator of men, and this way he's motivating Brian Hoyer to put it all on the field tonight, baby.
And I'm telling you, I'm fired up too. I want to see what they do, how they respond to the opportunity, to the pressure. I will say this, I got a little ticked off, no, surprise, at something I read in the Plain Dealer here this morning, but Tom Reed, he basically wrote in his write-up of today's game that, and he used pretty much this. It wasn't, I don't have it in front of me to give you the exact quote, but this is the gist of what he wrote. If the Browns lose tonight, you go Johnny Manziel because the hunt for the playoffs is over. And I'm like, when in the world did going to 5-4 mean the hunt for the playoffs is over? I don't understand the thought on that.
After 9 games.
I mean, I'm just saying, I understand that when it's time to get a look at the kid, we got to get a look at the kid. But I'm just going to tell you now, if you're listening to the sound of my voice anywhere out there, if the Browns lose tonight, the season is not over. You can tell everybody I heard it from J-Rock, not that you need to hear it from me. The season is not over. The Browns are still over 500, but I'd much rather that they win. Go to the jungle and fight these guys and show everybody what you got.
Well, J-Rod, Daddy, let me point out the obvious. Obviously, we know that Brian Hoyer is ranked higher as an NFL quarterback than Andy Dalton. Dalton's only got 8 touchdown passes, this interceptions. I think one of the keys are big going to be unleashing the Cleveland defense, man. This Dalton, he's susceptible to pressure. He'll make mistakes. He'll create the turnovers with some fumbles. And I got to tell you, J-Rock, Daddy, go into that jungle, which we know they can, And you know, one big factor is Brian Hoyer beat the Cincinnati Bengals.
I know. No, we've talked about
Bengal beater coming into the jungle tonight, man. Think about that. You know, J-Rock, and I think stability at something missing since 1999 when the Cleveland Browns came. Or not, who cares? We have a 5-3 winning football team. I have a good feeling going into tonight's game. I think we're going to be 6-3 after the victory.